Hey guys, welcome back to Through the Screen. I'm Brittany.
I'm Charlotte.
I'm Emily.
We hope you've been enjoying our episodes so far and liking and commenting and sharing with your friends. If you've missed any of them, head on over to our channel and watch. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe while you're there. This week, we're back with all new topics, so we hope you follow us once again as we join via Skype to bring you conversations through the screen.
Even the best they can't say they've never lost. Hey, it isn't even a question. You can't change what's dead and gone. So grab the lighter, spark the flame, start the fire, watch it blaze. It isn't even a question when I say you're better off. Believe me that you're better off. You're better off.
This episode we will be discussing circuses and what you may not know about them. We will also be bringing you updates from Taiji, sharing a heartwarming story about 2 circus elephants that are finally free, revealing which of your favorite snacks may be vegan, and finally discussing the world premiere of the documentary Racing Extinction. First up, circuses.
So this week we wanted to bring to light some of the animal cruelty that is taking place in circuses. And a lot of people have heard of the Ringling Brothers, phasing out elephants and what that means. But there's that's all important, and the elephants are super important. And there's also more wild animals that are affected by all of this. Virtually 96% of a circus animal's life is spent in cages or chains. 96%. That just makes me want to cry. Like, that's just disgusting. The lack of exercise and long standing hours really just is terrible for all of the animals' health. They make lions and tigers jump through fire, which they're afraid of by nature, and they're forced to do this with whips and methods of discipline when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing until they start doing it. A lot of other countries have a lot stricter laws than the United States about animals, which we have learned time and time again. But Hawaii is actually starting to phase out all animals, period, in circuses. So they're completely animal-free, completely family-friendly entertainment, and I just really am hoping it spreads around.
For me, I looked more into the elephant aspect of circuses, and I was kind of I'm not shocked by what I found, but I was disgusted by what I found. Bull hooks are used to corral elephants, and it's basically a sharp metal stick. Physical punishment has always been the standard training method for animals in the circus. They are beaten, shocked, and whipped to make them perform over and over again to do tricks that make 0 sense to them. So it makes no sense in their mind to do it, but yet they're being tortured to do it. The AWA Animal Welfare Approved allows the use of bull hooks, whips, electrical shock prods, or other devices by circus trainers. Trainers also drug some animals to make them manageable and to surgically remove the teeth and claws of other animals. One video shows an animal care director of the Carson and Barnes Circus using a blowtorch to remove elephants' hair, as well as chained elephants and caged bears who exhibit stereotypical behaviors caused by mental distress. It has since come out by ex-trainers that when an elephant doesn't perform right, they are taken to a tent made to lay down while 5 trainers poke them with bull hooks repeatedly. Ringling Brothers' motto is "Keep the animals afraid. They can keep them that way. They keep them submissive." Almost sounds like terrorists, right? Terrorists to the elephants, if you will, because that's really what it sounds like to me. Keep them afraid, and they'll be submissive, which is disgusting to think about. Another story I found was our lovely candidate for the Republican Party, Donald Trump, supporter, showed up at a candidate campaign party in Sarasota, Florida, with an Asian elephant. He was led around the arena with the words, "Trump, make America great again," painted on its side. The elephant's owner, whose name was later released as Frank Murray, is a circus elephant exhibitor and believed in the candidate so much that he wanted to donate his elephant's time to the cause. Murray has already been charged with animal abuse several times. In 1996 for unnecessary cruelty to a living animal. He evaded a warrant for 16 years until he was finally arrested in 2011 in New Jersey. As a Piccadilly Circus employee, he was immediately terminated for such crimes. Trump has publicly said he promotes hunting. His family hunts, although he himself has said he prefers golfing. I don't hunt. He has also said that he isn't in favor of hunting or shooting rare or endangered species. Although just this last March, Ringling Brothers announced they would finally retire all its elephants, Trump's response to this was, "I'll never attend the circus again." An update on the story only revealed the elephant's name, which is Essex. I also wanted to mention Tyke, who was a beautiful African elephant. In 1994, while on tour with the circus in Hawaii, she killed her trainer, crushing her. She then escaped her enclosure and went on a foot chase with police before she was shot 87 times before succumbing to wounds. It was broadcast for the world, and 20 years later, she finally gets a small glimmer of justice in the Ringling ruling.
I think that's absolutely disgusting. How many times that, well, the fact that they shot her at all, but how many times they had to do it, that's just absolutely disgusting. I couldn't, like, when I read that story and I watched that video, we'll link it down below. It is extremely graphic, though. It really affected me. I found it incredibly disturbing. But elephants are obviously not the only animals that are exploited by the circus. They also use bears, tigers, lions, horses, primates, birds, and even domestic dogs and cats, which I was really surprised about. These animals suffer an endless routine of boredom, stress, and torture. And, you know, a lot of people don't realize, I guess kind of the situation with SeaWorld as well, is that these animals don't want to do this. You know, they don't perform these tricks out of nature. They perform because they're afraid of what will happen to them if they don't. And, you know, as they've, both Charlotte and Brittany have talked about, they are punished for not performing tricks properly. They're hit with whips, electric prods, bull hooks. They're restrained with tight collars, muzzles, and chains. I still remember this video that PETA did, and it was called Circuses in 60 Seconds Flat. We're also going to link that down below. But I just remember being so outraged by it and shocked. You know, they would show the trainers hitting the elephants with bull hooks and slapping tigers on the mouth. And, you know, it was just disgusting. And also, you know, the confinement that they're in. They travel place to place roughly 11 months out of the year in like boxcars or trailers, and they transport them in all forms of weather, usually without proper food, water, or care. And, you know, they usually get away with this kind of thing because there isn't a government agency that monitors these training sessions. PETA, for example, has done undercover investigations, but there really isn't any kind of agency that monitors this training, which is why it continues. But similar to Tilikum and other orcas at SeaWorld, some animals have, as Charlotte talked about, lashed out at their owners like Tyke did. And it subjects not only the trainers to risks, but also the audience as well. And, you know, besides this possible aggression, it also puts them at risk of diseases. Elephants carry the human strain of tuberculosis, and, you know, it's not always contracted by direct contact. So, you know, they're also putting the audience at risk of diseases. So, you know, it's not sanitary, it's not safe, and it's just not necessary. There's always this circus that comes to my hometown for basically every single holiday, and I always refuse to go. My friend has invited me, and I've refused because, you know, I see trailers outside, and I know they use horses, and, you know, I just never go to that circus, or any circus for that matter, just because I know what they do. I feel like it's just kind of one of those things that people don't really realize until they know the facts of it. It's just like with SeaWorld, you know, a lot of people have done it for years because they see it as something fun to do with their family, like a family activity, something fun to see these animals in this kind of setting. But you know, you really have to see it from their perspective to realize just how horrible it is. So far, 17 countries, including Austria, the Netherlands, Peru, Mexico, Greece, Israel, and Singapore, have banned the use of wild animals in circuses. We're going to post the full list down below, but again, it shows that, as always, the United States is not on this list and is always behind in, you know, animal welfare, animal testing, all these things. And it's just so sad to see that we just can't get it together and, you know, kind of stop things like this. There has been progress in certain cities. San Francisco, for example, has banned the use of circus elephants, but we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's heartbreaking when you watch the videos, when you see what happens to these elephants and wild animals and what they're subjected to. I don't understand how people think it's okay. I mean, I understand the fact that it's marketed to families, it's marketed as a good time, but to see lions jump through fire, and it's just, I mean, if you really think about it, it's appalling. So if you're going to go to the circus, make it an animal-free circus. There's plenty of things that you can do that don't involve animal abuse. So please, please, please check out all of our links and just try to consider what we're saying.
This week in Taiji, we saw almost all Blue Cove days, which we really needed after the last 2 weeks of horror. So there was only one Red Cove day. It was on November 28th, and it saw the slaughter of 5 to 10 rhesus dolphins. And of course, even though we only saw one Red Cove day this week, one day is still too many. We want to see the end of this, so as always, we encourage you to watch the live streams, link down below, and see what's happening in Taiji for yourself.
Our heartwarming story this week is about two elephants who spent their lives chained up in the circus. They now are finally free, roaming in a sanctuary they now call home. The two elephants, named Mia and Sita, traveled over 1,200 miles day and night through heavy rain to get to the Elephant Conservation and Care Center run by Wildlife SOS in Mathura, India. Unfortunately, from spending their days in chains, the two elephants suffer from health problems. Long stretches of time went by where they couldn't even lay down to sleep, sometimes spending almost up to a year without proper rest. When I read this, it reminded me of the young starlets and singers of today. How many say when they get a little older and have more input that they are early years, they just felt like a dollar sign. Lady Gaga was one of the most recent artists to have come out and said this, how they are sometimes toured to the point of exhaustion. Difference here is that Lady Gaga had a voice to speak up. These two elephants did not. Thankfully, though, they now at least get to enjoy the rest of their days free from the chains of the circus and to roam as all wildlife should.
So this week for our products of the week, we decided to share with you some accidentally vegan foods that you probably already have in your pantry.
So one is kind of going with the candy section. So Sour Patch Kids and Dots are vegan. And it's actually kind of surprising because a lot of candies that are kind of gummy are usually made with gelatin, which, if you guys didn't know, is actually produced from the boiling of animal skin, cartilage, and bones, which is, it's really gross. It's used for candy corn, gummy worms, gummy bears, but luckily Sour Patch Kids and Dots are not made with gelatin, and which is good for me because I love Sour Patch Kids. So
For me, it's Swedish Fish. And again, it's made by the same company as Sour Patch Kids, so it's no gelatin and none of that crap that they put in gummy bears or any of that stuff, so you can enjoy them knowing that you're actually having something healthy.
So when I first was starting to become vegan, I was so shocked and surprised that Oreos are actually vegan, which is surprising because they have a cream-filled center, but totally no animal products in that at all, so you can enjoy it with your almond milk.
Another one is Ritz crackers and Lay's potato chips. I mean, this isn't super surprising, but sometimes you wonder about like the ingredients and the spices that they put into things, so you can enjoy your Ritz and Lay's in peace.
And I was actually not really surprised to find out that since Lay's original potato chips were also vegan, that Pringles original potato chips are also vegan. So if you ever are a Pringles fan, you can still keep these in your diet.
Another thing I was super excited to find out was vegan when I first started out was Hershey's chocolate syrup, because I love putting it in my almond milk. I think it tastes really awesome, and the fact that it's vegan was just super, super exciting to me.
So obviously these shouldn't be like your main diet. We're not saying that, but you know, if you want to have a snack every so often, these are nice vegan options that you can have.
And as always, if you have anything you want us to veganize, anything you want us to try or are interested in, just email us or comment below, and we love hearing from you guys, so let us know.
So this week's entertainment is the brand new documentary Racing Extinction, which premiered in over 220 countries and territories in the world on December 2nd on the Discovery Channel. The film was ultimately created and funded by the Oceanic Preservation Society and was directed by Luis Saihoyos, who is the amazing award-winning director of The Cove. So basically the film set out to expose issues of endangered species and mass extinction and brought to light a lot of really important issues. As you guys know, we've been waiting so long to watch this. I think we talked about it on our very first episode. We're now here at episode 18, finally going to talk about it. So what did you guys think?
Oh, I thought it was so emotional and so just needed for our country and the world, really, but even especially in our country, because I feel like that people just don't care, and it's like I feel like if they would see some of the things that a Racing Extinction brought to light, that they would maybe care a little bit more.
I mean, there was just so many scenes that stick out in my mind from this movie, but just a couple that I wanted to mention was in the very beginning, how they show the brown bird and how it's the very last one, and it's a male, you know, calling out for a female that's never ever going to come because there's no females left. And that was just like heartbreaking to me to think that like all this bird wanted was somebody to love, and it was never going to happen for this bird. It was going to die essentially alone with nothing. So that made me really like sad to think about. And one of the other things that really stuck out is just the whole manta ray scenes where, you know, they, you know, first of all, how they kill them, and just, you know, how it's kind of like almost a family affair because it's all that they know. And even they know that, like, they can't continue to keep doing this. Like, the people who live in Indonesia know that they can't continue to keep killing these animals because they are seeing the depletion of the race of the animal. And it's just heartbreaking because they don't have any other way to live, and yet they know what they're doing essentially in their minds, and they know that there essentially is not going to be anything left for their, you know, next generation to hunt or make money off of. So they need to find a different way of life. Yeah. And it's sad to think that, you know, there's not going to be any manta rays left on this earth because they're just getting killed in these horrific ways. I mean, that's probably one of the most disturbing scenes in the whole movie, for me anyway, was just watching how they were, like, literally gutted and killed. And then, of course, you know, the whole shark fin trade is just unbelievably disgusting to think about.
That was one of the times when I was actually brought to tears, is seeing the one shark swimming around with no fins. It's like, no, they need them. We do not need them.
Well, we think we do. Like, it just blows my mind that people kill things because they think that they have healing powers. Like, that's what happens with rhino horns, elephant tusks, shark fins, manta ray fins. Like, they think that they have medicinal powers, but it's just a way to make a profit. They just tell people that they have healing powers, and they don't. Like, that one worm that they showed that was worth, what, $44,000 a kilo? for a little worm that people think can heal them. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. If you notice, like, a lot of the things that, like, he said was like, oh, it cures cancer. It cures cancer. It cures cancer.
Yeah.
I noticed that almost everything he said, he was like, it cures cancer. And I'm like, it does not cure cancer. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no.
Yeah. I know, yeah. It was really, that part was really mind-blowing to me. I also was really heartbroken by the manta ray scene. That was the one that really did bring me to tears. Sean Hendricks, who is a huge part of the film, he was talking about how he once saved a manta ray from a fishing hook, and then later how he watched that one die and was just talking about it, and his emotion just really made me emotional as well. So, I mean, yeah, that's definitely was one of the biggest parts for me. Another part that I really liked was Leilani Moonter. I love Leilani Moonter. And there was a quote that she said where she was talking about people that criticize her, and she said that they would tell her, if you really wanted to be an environmentalist, you'd be racing a bike. But the problem with that is I wouldn't have 75 million people watching my sport. And I just love that because I was watching her Q&A before the film, and she said that she considers herself an activist first and then a race car driver. So, you know, just to kind of see that she uses that as a platform, that she doesn't take sponsors that, you know, promote animal cruelty or animal products or anything like that. I just love her, and I love that they chose her to be part of the projection part of the movie. So,
yeah, I also really am inspired by Jane Goodall, who also was a part of the movie and a huge environmentalist. I love how the movie just brought together all of the people that you see fighting so hard for animals and so hard for our planet, so they can kind of be opened up to people who don't care, don't know, you know, are educated and everything else. So I'm just so thankful for the documentary, and I'm so thankful that Discovery Channel, you know, aired it all over the entire world. We had friends in Australia who actually got to see it before us because their time zone is like 12 hours ahead of us, so they got to see it before, and were like, you know, the same reactions we had, brought to tears, just emotional about the whole entire documentary.
Another thing I found, you know, really interesting for me as somebody who's always been interested in climate change is the fact that they introduced, you know, even the mass extinction of humankind itself. And just what carbon dioxide is doing to this planet and what it's done to some of the coral reefs already. It's literally taking out coral reefs. Like, we are taking out whole habitats of animals, and it's just, we don't see it because it's underwater. So, therefore, it doesn't exist because we don't see it. But it's happening, and, I mean, just the sheer mass of carbon dioxide that's going into the atmosphere daily, it just all needs to change. There's so much that needs to change in this world, and I just hope that more people open their eyes, watch this documentary, and just, you know, don't turn a blind eye anymore. Don't, you know, make small changes, just like this movie says. You know, one small change can make a big difference. So.
Well, and I think that going with the carbon dioxide thing was one of the most mind-blowing facts to me, and I don't have the specific numbers written down, so if either one of you know them, but they did a whole factory farming segment about all the carbon dioxide you, like, put into the air by one cow. And it was like, and all you had to do was not eat meat for 1 day, meat and dairy, 1 day a week.
It's
for an entire year.
It's like taking 7 million cars off the road.
Yeah, 7 million. Like, I was mind blown by that. I was like, millions of cars. That means all you have to do is 1 day a week not eat meat and dairy. 1 day. 1 day. That's mind-blowing.
That's another thing that people don't realize is that it's not necessarily cars that are killing the planet. It is factory farming that is killing the planet more than anything else.
It's very interesting to me, which it really annoys me because I see it a lot, because obviously we follow a lot of like animal activism sites, but you know, the government wants to tell you it's cars, you know, make cars more fuel efficient, blah, 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 which, yeah, that helps. You never hear anything about the dairy industry. You never hear anything about factory farming at all. I have never heard anything from the government about factory farming. And that is the actual reason. That's the actual cause for all of this, is factory farming is the biggest cause of climate change, and no one wants to do anything about it. No one.
And the thing that kind of blows my mind is that we destroy so much of our natural environment to create land for agriculture for these livestock that we eventually kill. So we're destroying land in order to produce land to kill animals. So it's like a double offense. And it's mind-blowing to me. And I mean, it's crazy that factory farming isn't seen as a bigger issue, because cows produce an insane amount of methane, which is, also poisoning our planet just as much as cars are, so it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like because people just act like they cannot live without meat. And I'm telling you can. And it's not even, we're not even telling you to live without meat. We're just saying, just think about it. One day a week, once a week, meatless Mondays, instead of, do meatless Mondays and dairy-free Friday. Seriously, it makes an impact. It makes an impact.
Yeah, it reminds me of one of the quotes from the film. It said, "We look out of these eyes and ears and we think that's it, that's all there is." And I feel like that's so true. A lot of people think that what they see and what they know is everything. Like, the world revolves around humans. We have to have our meat. We have to have everything at the expense of the planet and the animals. And, I think that quote just kind of encompasses everything. So,
Another quote that is loosely quoted, because I don't have any quotes written down, is at the very beginning of the film, it said that humans are like the asteroids that took out the dinosaurs. We are having that big of an impact on the planet that people are comparing humans to asteroids that just destroy. You don't want to be remembered as that, make a future for your children.
The thing is, we don't know, what comes next after humans. Who's to say we're even gonna be remembered? Who's to say there's even gonna be anything after us? We could literally be the mass extinction of this planet as we know it. You know what I mean? It is just shockingly mind-blowing to think about. This planet has gone through 5 mass extinctions. 5 already. I don't understand why people think that we are above this, that it's not going to happen to us, that it's impossible to happen to us.
Yeah, another thing that they said is that if you put the entire history of the planet into a 24-hour day, humans are the last few seconds before midnight. So what Luis Hoyo said was that we're kind of like the new kids on the block. And we think that everything revolves around us, which is, it's mind-blowing.
And just culture. It's like people just do what they've always done, just over and over, and make excuses and excuses and excuses, not even seeing the behind-the-scenes stuff. 100 years ago, I'm telling you, cows were not stacked on top of each other like a freaking junkyard car to make your meat. No, they were actually from farmers. And that, although inhumane and they're still killing them for meat, but at least they lived a life. These animals are not living lives. 90% of the meat in our culture is not living lives. They're bred to be killed and live in where they can't move.
So my absolute favorite part of the film was the end, where they did do the projection of all of the endangered and extinct species on the Empire State Building and had all of these facts. And I think what made it even more emotional and more moving was that they used Sia's song One Candle. And it kind of goes along with the idea that, I've loved this quote forever, and I thought it was from JFK, but it's actually an ancient Chinese proverb. And it says, it's better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. And I love that the movie ended on an inspirational note, just the fact that we can do one thing and we can, kind of help change the world, rather than a really downer kind of ending. So I really love that it ended on a really inspirational note.
Yeah, and I think that my favorite thing that Jane Goodall said was, if we all lose hope, there is no hope, but there's still so much left worth fighting for. So, it seems so big, it seems like a massive problem, but, change one thing, and then that one thing will lead to another one thing, and if everyone changes one thing, it's just domino effect. So, don't think about conquering the whole problem, change one thing in your own life, and that's going to make a huge difference.
One thing that really stuck out in my mind is how they said, one person can just one person changes everything. Whether you think that like you're not gonna to make a difference, it's not gonna matter. Your one thing can change everything. And if everybody in the planet did one thing, imagine what we could do. There's no one left to save us. We need to start saving ourselves because there is absolutely no one left. We don't if we don't do something now, the next generations are what's going to have to pay. They're going to pay for what we've done to this earth. And do we want to see that happen? No. So we need to change now. We need to do what we can now before it's too late. Like Al Gore said 10 years ago. He said it 15 years ago, and no one listened to him. Everybody thought he was crazy, and now look at us.
So, change one thing.
Yeah, I mean, like we said about like one person changing everything, they also say that when they talk about the lighting one candle, they say one candle means something. So, your actions mean something and you really can make a difference. So if you missed the film on TV, it's also available on iTunes and is now for pre-order on DVD. I think it's going to be released December 15th on DVD. And we'll, of course, post the link to that as well as the Racing Extinction website down below. And we will also include the link to check out the Oceanic Preservation Society as well as organization.
This week, I chose to introduce the idea of doing a song that has been stuck in my head from the moment I heard it. As many of our fans know, all this fall season, we watched Dancing with the Stars. In the finale, we saw Mark Ballas, a.k.a. Alexander, and his girlfriend, BC Jean, a.k.a. Jean, perform their debut hit. It mixes an indie genre with a soulful, angelic voice. The song itself is of a couple who essentially know they are perfect for each other but cannot be together at the moment. It takes the most basic of poems, roses are red, violets are blue, and just adds their own flavor to the last part that makes the hook one of those sections you will sing in your head over and over. It is a song I am so grateful to have found, and one I encourage everyone to go and download.
I also really loved it. If you've watched any of our Dancing with the Stars episode, you know that Bindi is not one of my favorites, even though she won. But like the song was just so perfect, and it was just one of my favorite parts. I think it really made the dance that week. So when I heard it, and it's been stuck in my head, it's one that is on my playlist. I really, really love the song, and just great song choice by them.
Yeah, it was really interesting to find out that she was Mark's girlfriend. Obviously, when we first heard the song, we didn't know that, but it was really cool to see them perform it together in the finale. And I love the song. I think she has a really like raspy, soulful kind of voice, and I think it goes really well with the song. It's really beautiful, and I think that everyone should listen to it.
So we encourage everybody to go on over to iTunes and download it. It's by the band Alexander Jean, and it's called Roses and Violets.
Okay guys, that's our show. We hope you've enjoyed this installment of Through the Screen. If you did, be sure to like down below and also subscribe to our channel. We appreciate any feedback that you may have. We post new videos every week, and we'd love for you all to join us and tell your friends. Next week, we'll be discussing a brand new topic, so you won't want to miss it. Until then, thanks for watching, stay informed, and we'll see you next time. Bye!